Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the simplest AI offer that you can make to businesses in order to get in the game, get a foot in the door, start getting a bit of experience, getting on client calls, start actually delivering something and getting into the game of selling things to businesses. That doesn't require you to have a huge development team or extensive development experience, or even experience getting on calls or knowing how to generate leads. This really is the smallest little baby step offer that you can make in order to just start making some progress towards your end goal of being a successful AI automation agency owner or AI entrepreneur. So this video is really intended for beginners who are trying to get into the game, but I just feel like they have no clue what they should offer. They don't really know how to do market research. They're having trouble generating leads and knowing what they should niche down to. So if you are one of these people completely new to the game, this is going to solve a lot of your problems and answer some key questions for you. So first thing you need to understand about this, let's put it up here. Simplest AI offer. So first thing you need to understand is the concept of a knowledge gap, which is how we make money in the AI space generally, or in any industry whatsoever, really, if it's a service-based industry particularly. So if you take, say, SMMA and digital marketing, SMMAs, social media marketing agencies, make money because the owners and the team at the SMMA has a knowledge gap between themselves and the businesses. Basically, they know more about digital marketing and how to get results with it than the business owners do. So the business owners pay them to get that. They pay them the difference of that knowledge gap, basically. So let's start off with key concept of knowledge gap. This is going to make sense for a second, and I will be giving you this shortly. I'm not going to drag it out forever. Knowledge gap. So basically, so here's the continuum of all knowledge. So here's using the SMMA example, or here's the business owner. All right, let's start. This is 0. So this is 0. This is maybe 10. This is maybe a 65, and this is a 100. So on this knowledge scale, say these people are just this is the best person in the world. This is the best agency or the best team, the absolute best knowledge, and you could say SMMA, or in this case, it's going to be AI, as to the expertise available. So they are really, really worth a lot, and they are just own the market, running everything because they know so much. But they're obviously going to be very expensive because they have so much context and understanding. Now, if the business owner is here, say, how do I draw let's draw a business. What's the photo going out? So this is a business, and this is, say, an agency, a AAA agency. This 65 represents the knowledge that maybe the average one has, or a one that's sort of doing well initially, but it's yet to sort of scale into the later ends of running an agency successfully. But basically, businesses will come to this agency and they were like, hey, I need help with this AI thing. I don't know anything really about the technology. I don't know what use case is best for my business, and I'm really just stuck, and I want some help. And I'm also going to need your expertise to help me implement this without dozens and dozens of issues if I try to do it myself. So this is how this gap here is where this agency is going to make their money, because they have a knowledge gap between what the business knows about AI and what they know about AI, and also their capabilities when it comes to the dev team and stuff. Now, most of you starting off, when you are getting into AI, let's say the average business owner average is about a 10 on this. Most people are trying to jump all the way to this point here and be a fully fledged agency and just sell the whole 9 yards, when in reality, or they think they need to be there immediately until they don't get started with the business, or they think, oh, it's not for me. In reality, you can be at maybe 25 here and have you with your little agency, or just yourself, but you know more than that business, and you can still make money in this gap. The question is how and what is the offer, and that's what I'm going to reveal to you in a second. So this is a very key concept to anything. This is why you should always be trying to expand either your knowledge, and this gap does represent your team as well. So I talk a lot about it in my program, but this knowledge gap can be expanded to your team. It's kind of the combined of either your brain and then also all of the team that you have with it. So when you make a new hire, suddenly you can jump from 25 to 35 because you brought on a really good AI developer who significantly increases the knowledge gap. And this can also factor in things like experience and things that you've done before that allows you to be more valuable to them because you've done the same thing before, and you're going to get less issues when you do it. So Step one, understanding that knowledge gap. I do have a pretty miserable eraser here, sorry, so if you give me a second. And so you understand what knowledge gap is. Tick, tick. Now, the question is, when you have such a small knowledge gap, or even non-existent, maybe you just found my video or found the space as a whole, and like, wow, I want to get into this, but I'm like either behind where the average business owner is, or I'm about where they are at the moment. I kind of have a basic knowledge of it as well. So what you need to be looking at is how you can increase that knowledge gap, and then make an offer that allows you to sell back down that and profit from that gap. All right, so I'm going to introduce you to this concept of AI tools consulting. Now, what is this? This is basically the most basic and simple thing that I could possibly come up with for getting into the space, where you are essentially a consultant that helps business owners to identify the best AI tools to use in your existing processes and for their team currently. Now, the reason this is so great is because it skips the entire step of having to do implementation and own a development team, because it's kind of like you're just you're selling other people's stuff, which, as a general rule of thumb, when you're starting businesses or getting started with running a business, or you want to make money online, the easiest way to do it, and this is something I wish I could sort of learned early in my journey, is that it's easier to sell other people's stuff where they've already got a clearly defined marketing process, or they've got a really great product that they spend a lot of money on, or the service is really good and there's a killer offer that comes with it. It's easy to sell other people's stuff where they've done all the hard work on the product or the service than to try and do it all yourself. So when I first started my very first online business, through e-commerce and dropshipping, sure, I was selling someone else's product, but I was still doing the entire business thing myself. And when you come from absolutely zero on the entrepreneur scale, trying to jump from there to running a whole business and having a team that you got to manage, managing suppliers, managing finances and stuff like this, it's a lot to pick up early on. But if you are, say, fitting in as a salesperson, you're selling someone else's product in the framework of their business, and they've already got everything dialed in, they've done all the hard work, and you get to come along and sell their products and make money. So that is something that as sort of a side note, is a good practice. And in this case, we're kind of stealing from that idea. We're basically selling other people's tools or selling other people's products without having to first build them ourselves. So I've talked recently in my video about the new kind of AI agency model that's going to really surge this year. And me, myself, and the team at Morningside, and peep the merch. I've been wearing this a lot. I don't know why I wasn't wearing this in the videos more. But yeah, we've all been wearing it into the office. So I've just come back and here we are. So I'll do a bit more of a spectrum thing again. That will also help break this down for you. So on the furthest end of the spectrum here, in terms of difficulty, we have implementation. By this, I mean AI dev services, SVCS services, implementation. And then we have, on this side, I don't know which one you'd put in front of the other. I probably would go education first. Because, I mean, any of you can watch a whole bunch of YouTube videos, kind of compile it together, use AI to help you write a nice script or make it into some presentation. And then the sort of middle point here, I'd probably actually put it sort of more to that side, is consulting, which is what you're doing here. And this is kind of how I started off. I guess in both these, when I started my journey, I was making YouTube videos, and then I was selling consulting through my YouTube channel and saying, hey, if you want to learn more about this AI chatbot I just built, you can book a call with me down below. And that was my original way I monetized my skills in the AI space, and allowed me to build a lot of confidence on the consulting courses I did. And that allowed me to eventually get down to the implementation step of running my own AI automation agency, Morningside AI. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because you don't need to, unless you really, really have either the resources or you want to go all out and really learn these tools. And by tools, I mean the service delivery platforms like VoiceFlow, Agentive Make, Relevant AI, all these VAPI, all these kind of service delivery platforms for AI agencies. This is obviously, the skills here are much better and much more valuable. But if you're just all going to get started, then these are also options for you. But if you're a developer, I'd highly recommend that you do swing that way first because it uses your skills. But some people are just starting with absolutely nothing. So this is a good place to start to just get familiar with the process of AI freelancing and running your own business. So education, we're not really going to focus on that in this video, but what this offer is essentially a consulting offer where, and I'm going to give you the process in a second, you are doing these AI tool consults for free. Initially, I'd recommend for businesses, and you can just continue doing them for free as a lead magnet, as we're going to go into in a second. But this is so that you don't have to jump immediately to this, where either you are deving the stuff yourself, and in that case, you need to spend maybe, you definitely need to spend a few months of learning and spending time consistently practicing and following tutorials and consuming content on YouTube about the best use cases and how to build them, and then getting to a stage where you're actually able to pitch businesses and you do all the lead generation stuff as well. So there's quite a lot to that, and this is definitely a great starting point for people with either business backgrounds and they can hire for developers immediately, or for developers who can start doing it themselves. But some of you with no business experience and even no technical experience as well, this is a better place to start. So let me just rub this off. Actually, I can just jump straight into it. So basically, the AI tools consulting process is pretty straightforward. What I would recommend you do is firstly create that knowledge gap, right? So even if you were starting at 0 on that scale I drew before, you can, number one, find tools. And I'll explain how you monetize this in a second, so just stick with me. It's actually pretty nifty. And also how you get clients. I'm going to touch on that briefly here as well. Doesn't need to be something crazy, but find tools. This means you're going to be going on things like YouTube. Now, thankfully, there's people like myself and others. I mean, I think by the time this video goes out, I will have just posted one about AI tools that I use in my business. So to make quite a lot of money as well. So I'll put these things up here. It'll be up there and maybe in the description as well. My recent AI tools video that I did. But you can watch a bunch of YouTube videos to find the best tools. I mean, there's always these videos about, I tried a bajillion AI tools and these are the best ones. So, I mean, if these guys are really, they're not lying, they've done a lot of the hard work for you. And you can find some great tools watching these videos. Now, my process that I'd recommend is that you find these tools by YouTube videos. It's probably going to be the best way to do it. And then you go and make a list. I'd go put these on a Google Sheet or something and just put a whole bunch of links and names and everything and do a little bit of categorization. Even you can say, hey, this is a creative thing or an AI image generator or video generator, etc. And then thirdly, I would deep dive. So that means on each of these, actually, I wouldn't do each of them. I would make sure that this list, you kind of narrow it down to a short list of the best ones based off what these guys in these videos are talking about. You maybe pick a bunch in a couple of different categories, like, okay, these are seemingly the best image generators, the best video generators, etc., the best writing tools. And then you start to, you make a short list that you're going to do a deep dive on. Now, deep diving means I would then go YouTube search again, but specifically for that tool. So I would be saying, okay, well, let's find, say it was Runway, and you search up Runway AI tutorial, and you start to go through it and watch, and you see what people are doing with it. And you see best Runway AI use cases, or best video generation, best AI video generation use cases, blah, 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 blah. And you find them either on YouTube is a great place to do it, but some of these tools are so new and so obscure that you won't even find much. You might need to go to a Google search even. Basically do a deep dive and see if anyone has revealed some cool stuff you can do with this, just to build up the context that you have on it. And then I would also go and try it yourself. And so once you've done that and you've had a bit of a play around with it, you've got familiar with it, and you're like, okay, I know how this works. I know that Runway has this feature that allows me to go from image to video. Okay, great. Now I've sort of pinned that, and you're building your knowledge gap just by watching videos and having a play around. It's pretty cool. And ultimately, number 4, I would make like a tools DB, where I'd like you to do this on Notion. If you haven't used Notion before, Notion, Notion, and you can create a bit of a tools database. Use whatever you feel like, really. You could use Google Docs, or you could use Pages, or who uses Pages? Word, or whatever your favorite bloody document processing thing is. But some kind of database where you've gone on these deep dives, and then you've got runway, bam, 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 category, this, best uses for this, features, this, and you start to create your own internal database of tools. And I would highly recommend you use some kind of like a database feature with a Notion, so you can create your own columns, and you can add in, you can do this in Sheets as well, but Notion's a lot easier for filtering, etc. And then you can set up filters like, okay, this is a creative tool. Okay, this is could be useful for this specific use case. And you start to build up this internal knowledge base or database of the best tools, and you rank them in certain ways so that when it comes to delivering that service of this AI tools consulting, you can go, okay, well, we're looking for some creative tools. You're on a call with them, as I'm going to break down the process in a second, but you're on a call with them, and they say, oh, yeah, we've got a team who does SEO writing for us. Okay, great. Well, you just go into your little thing, probably not on the call, but afterwards or in the report making phase, which I'll touch on in a second. And you can quickly pull these up, and you've got all this context on it. And you can read through it and you go, oh, okay, yeah, I remember that tool now. Great. Okay, now I can put that into the recommendations list for them. So that's the process to start. And by this point, if you've got a tools DB filled out with 50 tools, and you've done a write-up on each of them, and you've had to play around with them as well, you've got a significant way down that. Say most of the businesses are here, you're now definitely moving over this way. And you start to know what these tools are good for. And again, you haven't had to go and build all this stuff yourself. You're purely just recommending things at this time. So to break down what this would actually look like in reality, I'm probably going to run out of whiteboard space here, but the way you'd pitch this is that you have some kind of 3-step process or something. So I'd say it's a free, and I'll get into how you market it in a second, but free AI tools. I'd probably play around with the naming a bit more to make it sound a bit more sexy, but I'm sure you can figure that out with the help of Claude or ChatGPT. But in principle, you say, one, we hop on a free consult where you ask them a whole bunch of questions, and you learn about the business and the different departments, and you sort of note it all down. You say, okay, great. Well, after this call, just to make it extra easy for you, I know this is how I would have approached it, how I did approach it when I first did my consulting calls, is don't try to put yourself under the pump to deliver on that call. You are not, if you're just starting out, you're not good enough, you don't know enough, and you can't be expected to know enough to just be able to be shooting off tools like immediately knowing what they should fit into within the different business departments. Maybe if you've done enough here, you could feel confident too, but just to get started, for most of you, I would say do the free consult, and then say, okay, step 2 of our process is we'll match plus find more. So you can say we've got this internal database that we use that's got all the best tools, and we match them up internally. But we'll also go out and do a further deep dive for your business and for your industry specifically. So this way you can handle a lot of different industries, and you might be able to come up with some really cool ones that are specific to that industry that you find. And here you can use things like, there's an AI for that. Or you got future tools. So there's an AI for that. There's a website where you can kind of just search up if there's an AI tool for the thing you need. Future tools also is similar. I'll put both those links down below if you want to check those out. But this is step 2, where you're matching them with your internal ones and also finding more. And then step 3 is a report. So you write up a report for them. You can use like some kind of Canva template, or you could just use a nice letterhead and a bit of branding on your Google Docs, or you could just do a blank document. I mean, initially, just to keep things simple, don't let that stuff hold you back from just doing it. And you write up a report for them, and you hop on another call, or you just send that to them directly. I'd probably hop on another call to get to sort of run through their process and give them the idea and walk them through how you want to do it, get a bit of feedback, because all this is going to be helping you to move further down this. And just a key part of getting to this point of implementing is getting comfortable on those sales calls and be like knowing how to deal with people. And you start to realize, oh, there's all these different characters that I can meet, and I kind of know how to handle that kind of person now. And it's just building up those entrepreneurial and business skills slowly but surely. And this way you get 2 chances, so the free consult, and then you break down the report for them. Now, I know what you're asking, Liam, how do I get clients and how do I make money from this? Okay, well, first thing first is that if you're getting started, money is not really, I know it might be like, oh, I need to pay my bills and stuff, but you should not be starting one of these businesses if you're in a position where you are like, okay, I need to pay my bills next week with this. That is, it's not going to work. Maybe 1 in 100, someone will just finesse and like hustle their way to making money. But for the most part, you are going to need to give this a significant amount of time to get up and running. And that means taking on free clients and building up your skills slowly but surely and your confidence. You might be doing these free consults for 1 or 2 months even, if you depending on the volume of them you do, until you're really, really good at it and people are really happy with the end result. So this is really the key thing. Are they happy afterwards? So getting feedback on that call or even getting feedback after by email is essential. Checking in with them maybe a week or 2 after they've implemented them, or probably a week or 2 is about a good amount of time. And if they're not saying, wow, yeah, this has really been massively helpful, then you need to work more on this and your matching process. But going back to getting clients to make money, as I said, first off, making money should not be the goal initially. If you want to really get to the end and if you're making a lot of money, you need to take that off your brain initially and just work through the process slowly of getting used to hopping on calls and building a knowledge gap. And this is really the flywheel for you to do that. But to give you the longer term strategy, the process here is going to be the monetization is from, eventually, you can use your affiliates. So you can get 20 or 15% of the monthly recurring that these companies sign up to. If these are decent sized companies and they're going to be high quality or long-term users of these apps, then if you do enough of these free audits, you're going to build up some passive income for yourself, where you might be making a few hundred or eventually a few $1,000s per month, right? So that's really determined by the quality of the people that you're putting through, because if you're getting some, and also the quality of your matching of the tools, and also the affiliate commission that they pay out. But you'll see a lot of churn in terms of, okay, I recommended that, but they used it for 2 months and they fell off. If you really find a good tool for them, then they will continue to use that. So that really comes down to you, but also making sure that the business that you choose is with someone who's going to be a long-term user of it and not just kind of jump around. Either they're too small to really stick with it, etc. But the second way, and it's probably more of a longer term one that you look to do, is through partners. So what you're doing here is essentially taking people from being unaware or not really implementing AI into their business or being familiar with it to the point where they're now experimenting with it. And they're like, oh, well, this is kind of cool. They start to see the value. And it's like when people first started putting websites up and they started getting the odd call from them. It's like, hey, I just found your website. Or they get an email like, hey, I just found your website. Was wondering if you can do this. And they start to see it. Like, okay, like now I get this now. I get this web thing. And in this case, I get this AI thing, like these really helpful tools where they can search the whole web and pull things back or write reports for us. But the thing about that is that you've just moved them down closer towards the point where they're ready to go to the implementation step. They're ready to maybe hop onto a more expensive consulting offer and an AI audit with someone who can really do the entire AI audit process, and then step them through to implementation. So partners here, at Morningside, we have dev partners because we get so many leads from this awesome channel and you guys who support us so much. Because alongside you guys are going to start agencies, and a lot of my bigger videos, we get like thousands and thousands of business owners, and we're seeing more and more like higher tier and high level business owners and larger companies reaching out to us because of the size of the channel as much as it's grown. So that's been awesome. And we have partnership deals. We have the excess leads that we can't really handle, or we don't necessarily want to do that kind of project, if I'm honest. We have partners who we offer them to, and if they close a deal, we get anywhere from 10 to 20% depending on the partner and the size of the deal. So you can do the same thing. There are people who are coming in and they do have this side, but they don't want to do this side. And you can find them either in my free community or in paid communities like my accelerator. Of course, I don't want to make this a sales pitch, but if you're looking to find high quality implementation partners, then you may need to spend a bit of money to get in a group or get in an area or a place online where you can find those dev partners, or even look locally. You can go on Google Maps and there might be some AI development shops popping up in your city, and you can get in touch with them and say, hey, I might have some leads for you. Could we set up a deal here? So this can be sort of 10 to 20% of, say, maybe a 5 to 10K deal initially. So that's good money. And then affiliates, you'll start off a few $100s, maybe like 200, and then getting up to maybe $1,000 per month. Yeah, That's not going to happen overnight, but it's still money, and you're still building a bit of momentum with your AI business and in the AI space. Now, the final step is, of course, how do you get clients? How are you going to attract people to this offer of yours? And I'm glad you asked, because I've got a simple solution for you. And this is pretty much what I recommend to everyone. So you need to turn people from these unknown people who don't know about your business at all, or the offer that you have, and to people that are booking in these free audits, free tool audits. And the best ways to get people initially to get things off the ground, there's a few strategies. Firstly, warm outreach. Alex Mozzie has a great one on warm outreach, which I'm not even going to try to outdo. I'm going to put it in the description below for you. Basically, you have a lot of people that you have contact to, either your older email contacts, your Facebook friends, your Instagram followers, all the people in your phone contacts. And these are people who either may themselves want this kind of thing and say, hey, look, I've built this entire database of AI tools. I've been spending a lot of time working with them. And I'm doing this thing where I'm helping businesses for free to do a 30-minute AI tools audit. Do you know anyone? Well, this is the pitch in the warm outreach, and this is what's going to be included in that podcast from Alex Mozzie. It's done part of his $100 Billion Leads book, but it's the audio version, again, 100% free. But you can ask them if you know anyone who'll be interested in this kind of offer, right? And they either will know people themselves or know people that would be interested, and they say, hey, yeah, great, I can put you in touch. Or they may be interested in it themselves, but by not asking them directly, it's not like, hey man, can you buy my stuff? Or like, can I do this for you? The fact that it's free makes that actually a little less bad. Like you probably could just ask them directly and say, hey, like, do you want me to do a free AI audit for you? I know a whole bunch about these things. I just have a quick check over, take 30 minutes. So that's strat one. I'll leave a link to that down below. Next strat would be cold email. This one takes a bit more to set up, and I honestly wouldn't recommend it for beginners, but if you are familiar with cold email, you could definitely blast out this kind of offer once you test the copy enough to get them to say, hey, like, yes, sure, I'd be interested. Depending on the targeting that you do, of course. Cold email is a whole different box of frogs. But cold email is one because you can reach out to like hundreds of people a day with the same offer, start booking in calls and moving them through that process. And then, of course, we have organic content. So you can try to, on LinkedIn, make social posts and stuff. I'd probably go the YouTube side personally, because then you can make videos like best AI tools for builders or plumbers. I keep using builders and plumbers example. I think it's such an interesting idea about AI service providers for these industries. But making YouTube videos talking about industry by industry, the best tools. You could even just use ChatGPT or O1 or whatever fancy model that you want to use these days to help you think through the problems that businesses would face. And then you, without even really knowing it, sure, you could jump on Reddit, you could jump on YouTube and do a bit of market research about the problems that a different niche would face. And then you match up with your tools database. You can go, okay, well, this tool, this tool, this tool, this tool for these different parts of the business that I know they have issues with. Then you can make a video, 6 AI tools, realtors, or etc. And you just kind of go through the list. And because those are tagged by the niche that you put in the search term or in the title, when people are searching for AI stuff for realtors, there's a chance you're going to pop up, and then there's a chance that will also book in the free consult with you. And in that video, you can say, like, literally just before you get stuck into it, and then probably towards the end as well, do 2 CTAs in that. So, hey, if you're interested in a free AI tools consult for your business, head down below and book in a call with me. Bam. And once you've got a good amount of traffic coming from this, you can actually turn this for free, and you can start charging $100 for it. You know, my consulting calls started off at, I think, $150 or $200. Jack that up to $300 because I was getting so many. Jack it up to $500 because I was still getting so many, just like dozens and dozens of calls. And I made like $4,300 within my second or third month of doing YouTube and consulting, right? And then I put that up to $1,000, and people were still paying for that. I made probably $15,000, $20,000 off $997 calls doing consulting. So there's definitely people who pay for it if you can get this up and running. That's how you get the money coming. But through warm outreach, I would recommend that you do it for free and build up until you get in these really happy customers and you know that you're actually providing a good service. So yeah, there's also things like ads, but for beginners, I wouldn't recommend you trying to learn Facebook ads to just try and get some clients. But I hope that makes sense. Knowledge gap, you're starting way down there. This is your process to get some kind of knowledge gap. And the way that you monetize this knowledge gap is do a kind of offer like this, where you're just doing consultations to help them match up the best AI tools. You're selling other people's products. You're getting compensated through affiliates and then through passing these people off, because you're doing the hard work of maybe not harder than actual implementation, but you're doing some good work here where you're moving them down from unaware or unfamiliar with AI to being more receptive to implementation. So we've found that if business owners don't understand the tech and understand that why it's good for their business, and the fact that what we're going to be building for you is actually really the best play for you right now, then there's no chance that they get to implementation and you can't sell them. You can never sell $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 worth of AI for an AI project if they don't first understand all of this stuff. So you're doing a key part of the process, and you can get compensated by passing that off to people once they're ready. And of course, over time, you will build up more skills and you build up more experience. You may want to go into charging directly for this. Once you've got a better lead generation system, you can start charging for it. Maybe you put up a little education product as a lead magnet instead, and you start running some traffic to there's all these different plays, and you try to move down and expand your offering. So I started off on YouTube, making YouTube videos, talking about the cool AI builds I was doing. You can go and look at it on my channel. I was just doing what was interesting to me and building my knowledge gap. And putting up coding tutorials and me building these different things. I loved it, and so I realized there was a big market for it as well. And that's how I kind of got my channel off the ground and built my knowledge gap. And I started consulting, so I was technically educating on my channel. Then I started doing consulting, like I said, making lots of money off consulting within a few months of starting my YouTube channel. And then I started Morningside AI, my AI automation agency, to do the implementation and basically capture more of the value that's possible within the AI space. It will come a long way from me in my spare bedroom. And I'm extremely proud of what we've done, and I can't wait to hear about what all of you do. And I know it's so difficult to get off the starting box when you feel like you have absolutely no fucking clue what to do. I fully understand. I was in your position like six years ago when I was starting an online business. I know how that feels, and I'm just really trying, I hope with this, to give you that little nudge and that small win and the small steps that you need to start putting a bit of momentum and really building your entrepreneurial skill set. So that's all for this video, guys. I will put those links down below. But yeah, if you want to see another video here breaking down how you can use organic content, I posted this recently. The exact organic content funnel that I've used to ensure that my AI agency, Morningside AI, never runs out of leads. I'll put that up there so you can copy my exact strategy. But aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.